People have got to get over the idea that people who are in business and entrepreneurs and people who consider themselves business owners are flushed with cash, because every single penny I earn gets distributed either for living expenses or it gets pumped back into the business or other investments, to the degree that I want it to go back into the investments and other businesses. If I stopped buying property now, for example, I could sort of harvest the fruits of the labour of the last 10 years. But because I keep buying property, in terms of cash in a bank account, it's minimal. And that's just the way that this business works. So you'll probably see here with these videos, I drive around most of the time. I've got a car, but I drive around most of the time in a van. And the van's usually full of stuff from different properties. I book the tip once a week and I get down there and empty the van. And that's simply because it's efficient. You don't need to be driving around in fancy cars and whatever. It's all the gear, no idea, and all flash, no cash type stuff when people are driving around in these type of things most of the time. Especially where I live in just outside between Dudley and Wolverhampton in the West Midlands. It's like if you drive around in a really nice car around here, it's probably not going to last too long. So, I mean, people have to get over this perception, which is all it is, that, you know, successful business owners are flushed with money, because it just simply isn't the case. And it's, you know, if I can speak for myself here, what I value in life isn't sitting around with tens of millions of pounds in a bank account. It's continual growth and expansion and learning different perspectives and expanding one's context of life. Whereas I think that might be because I've sort of gone past the point of the fundamental needs being met. If you know what Maslow's hierarchy of needs are, once those fundamental needs are met and you start making money for yourself, good money for yourself consistently, cash flow is very good. It's at that point you can begin to self-transcend, I think he calls it, which is look above yourself, outside of yourself, look to contribute rather than just doing it for yourself. And that's why I do a lot of the converting old historic buildings. What I like to do, they do try and make it difficult, the banks and the planners and whatever, but that's what I try and do, because that's something that it's like written in my DNA, if you like, that I want to bring these things back to life. I want to breathe life into them. Also, I want to provide good quality commercial stock to small businesses, because I'm a massive believer in entrepreneurship as the vehicle for human expression. I might be a bit philosophical and whatever, but that's what drives me. That's my worldview, and that's what I get out of bed for. So I could be here now driving around in a Lamborghini and all this crap. It's not crap, again, that's wrong. It's human. That's human beauty, I suppose, like engineering beauty. And if you're into that thing and you're into that worldview, then great. But if you're buying a Lamborghini just to show off that you've got a Lamborghini, then, you know, you're spiritually broke, if you like. And you can never be happy unless you're happy now. So if you're looking for something outside of yourself, like cars, houses, women, whatever it is, you're never ever going to be able to find that sense of satisfaction. You'll always feel that lack of integrity within yourself, because it's never anywhere but here now. So, and it usually takes, particularly in young men, I can speak for myself, it usually takes being a success in something over a prolonged period of time to recognise it. Because you could just listen to this and think, oh yeah, he's telling the truth. But if you haven't actually experienced it, then you don't know. It's just not a visual understanding. That goes for anything in life, but this in particular as well. While we're on the topic, and this is why people like Andrew Tate and people like that, and they talk about making loads of money and I've got 100 cars and that. He's not stupid. He knows that having 100 cars ain't going to make him any more fulfilled than driving around in this van going to the tip a couple of times a week. It doesn't change anything. It's all about Are you fulfilling what life is asking of you right now in this moment? And if you're not, you won't be fulfilled in it. You won't be happy in it. If that is being present with your children at the time, you know, when you go home from work, if that's building a better relationship with your partner, whatever it is, if that's what life's asking of you and you're not doing that, then there's going to be an incongruency there. So, I mean, I know it's not necessarily about business and entrepreneurship, this, but it's all intertwined, all interlinked. Entrepreneurship for me is that vessel. That's what it showed up as. That's what life is presenting itself to me. The vessel for my advancement. And if that isn't that for you, then don't do it. Don't waste your time. It's not like, you know, buying property ain't the be all and end all for my life. In 5-10 years time, it might not be that thing. But right now, you have to do what's presenting itself. It takes a bit of introspection and contemplation on things, rather than just, you know, going gung-go in life and throwing a load of shit up a wall and seeing what sticks. Contemplate, think, take half an hour a week, just to really contemplate where you're at and where you're going. And it'll give you that clarity that you're probably lacking, because most people do, so I can say that as a majority. Most people don't know what to do today because they lack the clarity of where they're going. And also what I've noticed as well is that the more you give of yourself to other people, to life in general, the more opportunity comes into your life. And I'm not talking about like the law of attraction and all that stuff, the new age stuff that they talk about. But there does definitely seem to be some universal law, if you like, that the more you give, the more you get. But you don't give for getting's sake. You have to give abundantly of yourself, like an overflow of a cup. You'll notice human interaction most of the time, it's a zero sum. So it's like a negotiation. There'll always be someone trying to drain something from the other person. Whereas good communicators and great negotiators aren't doing that. They're genuinely trying to find the best thing for both people, for both parties, for any situation. It's trying to make, it's a bit deep, but it's trying to make life expand itself. Whereas the communication that's constantly draining, it will drain your life energy. You know, after you have a conversation with people and you're tired after the conversation, usually that's probably because they're seeking approval out of you. They're looking to get information from you rather than just giving of themselves, adding something to you. All they're trying to do is drain it from you. So don't be that person. And people naturally are magnetized to you when you like them, genuinely like them, genuinely are interested in them. You'll be attracted to them, they'll be attracted to you. And that's when I talk about working with partners a lot and investors a lot, and the people are going like, how do you find these people? Just talk to people, be genuinely interested in their life experiences, and people open up. That's when you start the conversation. It might take, 2 weeks of building relationships. It might take 2 years, might take 20 years. But if you just be that person that people enjoy talking to, and you can build rapport with them, you don't know where these relationships are going. Like in 5 years' time, if I can give you an example out of my past, when I was about 24, 25, so that would have been 2015, something like that. And I was sitting down with a turned out to be an investment partner, but it wasn't at the time, it was just a friend. And I ended up we were just having a coffee at the local hotel, and I ended up having a phone call from somebody out the newspaper for someone wanted to sell the property. It was when I was doing a lot of lead generation, local lead generation. I was in the newspapers, yellow boards everywhere, all that type of stuff. And a phone call come from the newspaper, and she was literally sitting with me. I picked up the phone and I answered the phone, I went round there with her. I went to the property. We did a deal with the seller there and then, and she put all the money in and half the profit with me. And that was a relationship that had been building for years, and it was just luck or circumstance, chance, whatever, that she was there at the time. I asked her, do you want to get involved in this deal? You put the money in, we'll split the money, split the profits. And she was well up for it. And that's how it all unfolded. There was no intention there whatsoever to do the deal originally. It just sort of played out that way. And this will happen all the time. When you take a step back and actually look back on your life, what's happened, you'll notice the levels of serendipity or luck, that you're in the right place at the right time, you met the right people, but you've got to put yourself out there, have integrity, have faith, if you like, of a without being too fluffy, like a positive universe, if you like. So I think, was it Einstein or something, he said something like the best question you can ask yourself is if you live in a friendly universe, something like that. And for me, you do. Everything is a positive, not positive as in happy, but positive as in everything is working for you. Everything is working out perfectly well, even in the depths of hell, whatever that might look like in your life. Everything is working out for the betterment of you and betterment of life itself. So when you have that fundamental reality underneath you, everything's a force for good. You're a force for good. What your actions are a force for good. And when you're interacting with people, if you have that in your DNA, that philosophy in your DNA, there's nothing that really goes wrong. It's just that it's pointing you in different directions. Something to keep in mind.